Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1, want to discuss about assignment 1, that is vehicle fault diagnosis from actual vehicle. Okay, for our group members, we have 4. Firstly, Muhammad HAFIZUDIN bin ZUHAIR, Muhammad AMIRUN ZAYAN bin AZHAR, Muhammad HILMIRASHDAN bin Muhammad RASHID, and lastly, Muhammad IZZUDDIN bin Muhammad SHAIEDI. Okay. First, we want to discuss about a battery vehicle. Okay, determine the fault battery. Referring to 203, which is lab 1, the feature or problem encountered is due to the vehicle battery is so weak because after making inspection using a multimeter, got a volt reading on the battery is below than 12 volt. Okay, slide. We discuss about effect battery vehicle to vehicle. Okay, firstly, the effect is slow engine crank or hard to start vehicle. Next, the engine light will light up. Okay, the low battery fuel level is low. The swollen and inflate battery casing emit a fault door. You can smell sulfur like that. Okay, lastly, the battery life. Okay, now we want to explain the basic and function about battery. Okay, the vehicle battery deliver to electric shock required to power all of your vehicle's electric components, likely a starter, fuse box, and others. In addition, there are 3 alternative scenarios that might illustrate how a battery operates. Firstly, when the engine is off, battery power is used to power the light and auxiliary system. For second situation is battery energy is utilized to run the starter motor and deliver current to the ignition system during a cranking when the engine is the starting stage. And finally, when the engine is running, the electrical load need of the vehicle exceed to supply from the charging system, battery power may be required. Okay. This is 3. Okay. There is 3 situation. Like I said, for that, the engine not running first. The engine not running. The battery supply the lighting, radio, or fuse box. Okay, when the engine be starting, the power battery supplied to starter and many more. And lastly, when engine is running, the battery supply to charging system, that is alternator. Okay, next slide. Okay, demonstrate the good working condition of the component. Okay, we have 2 ways to check the vehicle battery. Okay, first ways, check your battery with a voltmeter. Firstly, for safety measure, turn your ignition off. Okay, then we remove the terminal battery positive, then clean the battery terminals, and then connect the positive lead of your voltmeter to the positive terminal of your battery. Okay, and lastly, we can second last, we can connect the negative battery terminal to the negative voltmeter. Lastly, examine the voltmeter. The voltmeter should be between 12.4 and 12.7 volt if your battery is excellent condition. Okay, when the result is below than what I said, below than 12 0.4, the battery required to change. For second ways, check your battery by cranking engine. Turn the key until the start engage and hold for 2 seconds to crank the engine. Allow an assistant to rev the engine while you monitor the battery voltage decline. Okay. Then we check the power probe reading and the moment of cranking. It must not fall below than 9.6 volts.
Okay, I will present about fault code 239 in Lab 3. According to the data on fault code 239 in Lab 3, the cause of the problem on the vehicle was that the socket on injector 1 had dirt that caused the electric current to not flow properly after check using OBD2. Second, for the demonstrate the faulty effect to the vehicle. First, residual dirt on the injector socket. The injector will not work properly when the socket is filled with a blue membrane or a large amount of seed residue. The socket is broken. When the socket breaks, maybe one of the connector will come off, which cause the injector to fail and the engine will be jerking. Socket loose. The socket will be jerking when the socket is not installed tightly. Explanation about injector, fuel injection. Injector is the one of the component in the engine that inject fuel into the combustion chamber. Apart from that, the injector also control the ratio that has been set according to the capacity of the vehicle engine so that the engine can be in line with the speed and fuel economy at one time. The injector can be replaced with a performance injector if the vehicle engine has been modified for racing. Before the engine is started, the injector will first inject oil into the combustion chamber to make it easy for oil and air ratio to be compressed with addition of a plug while allowing the engine to start easy. So this is a operation about fuel injector. Okay, next this component about fuel injector. Okay, demonstrate the good working condition of the components. If you want to check injector okay or not, first check on the engine check light on the vehicle meter and use scan tool to check which injector problem. Second, if you detect the problem, deassemble the fuel rail and unplug the injector. Third, the injector machine to service and calibrate injector until clean and spray perfect. Lastly, install the fuel injector and fuel rail completely and try to running engine. If not okay, you must replace a new injector.
Okay, determine the fault component. Based on the lab 4, the component to be checked in this lab are inner tier switch. Okay, the picture show the location of the inner tier switch. Okay, this explanation of the location of the inner switch. Okay, the initial switch is located behind the trim on the left hand side of the vehicle. Forward of the front door post below the fascia. Second, a finger can access hole in the twin allows the driver to reset the switch. Next, demonstrate the faulty effect to the vehicle. The faulty of the inertial switch. Okay, the first, engine suddenly stop while driving. Okay, second, switch that trip for no reason. And lastly, no start condition. This effect to the vehicle. And the problem should be solved. Okay, so that's how to reset the full initial switch. Okay, the first, turn off the initial switch and remove the keys from the initial lock cylinder. Next, open the hood of your vehicle and verify you do not have a full leak. Okay, let's walk around the vehicle and look for possible leaks that might come from the full lines of the full tank itself. Next, look for the full pump switch or init switch and turn the initial switch to the on position for about 10 seconds and then turn it off. This will let you pressure the full system. Next, start and idle the engine for a minute or two to verify the fuel airflow will properly to the fuel injector. And lastly, turn off the ignition switch. Okay, next, this diagram for ignition switch. Okay, we can see the ignition to the initial cut off and turn to the relay, and the battery is the turn the relay and the connection to the terminal and pump. Okay, this the purple line is an existing wire modified, and the green line or wire is a new wiring heavy gauge. Okay, next, the explain the basic and the function of the initial switch. Okay, this initial switch. Okay, and initial switch is a switch and a firmly mount upon a vehicle or other mobile device. There are triggers in the event of shock of vibration. That it is a part of electrical circuits that may either enable or disable some function. Okay, lastly, demonstrate the good working condition of the components. Okay, the full pump should off switch in electrical switch that is found a curtain vehicle equipment with an internal combustion engine. Then that the fuel pump, when it detected the vehicle has come to unusually sudden and full stop. Okay, other than that, in the accident or collision, it may be possible to full lines or hose to become damaged. Then the full pump should off a switch will deactivate the full pump in order to stop flow and prevent a full line from becoming a potential safety hazard. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm Muhammad HILMIRASHDAN bin Muhammad Rashid with matrix number B0920100407. Today I would like to present about assignment 1. This assignment 1 is based from lab 5, which is known as a canister purge solenoid. Determine the fault component. Based on the lab file, the faulty component is the canister purge solenoid. The canister purge solenoid is most often located in the engine bay on the hose going from the intake to the canister. It can also be located near the fuel tank. The faulty effect of canister purge solenoid to the vehicle is rogue idle. One of the first symptoms that a faulty canister purge valve may produce is a rogue idle. In this case, you will notice the car running inconsistently while stopped or driving at low speed. Number 2 is power engine performance. On top of rock idle, a vehicle with a failing EVAP canister purge valve will display signs of power point engine performance. The engine may feel like it's running weak and would not generate sufficient power for acceleration. Number 3 is difficulty starting. Another symptom commonly associated with a bad vapor canister purge solenoid is difficulty starting the car. Again, if a vacuum leak is created as a result of any problem with the canister purge solenoid, that may cause the vehicle to have difficulty starting reliably. Next, number 4 is the check engine light comes on. A defective canister purge solenoid may also set off the check engine light. If the computer detects any problem with the purge solenoid circuit or signal, it will set off the check engine light to alert the driver that a problem has occurred. Number 5 is low fuel economy. Poor gas mileage is another sign of a falling canister purge valve. The fuel vapor of the fuel vapor your car usually use for combustion will end up vented through the EVAP canister instead of reaching the combustion chamber. Gasoline gets burned up before it engages in the combustion process. This means your car will not use fuel efficiently and instead waste gasoline. Next, the basic and function of the components. The canister purge solenoid is an emission control component that is commonly found on the evaporative emission control system that known as a EVAP of many modern vehicles. Modern vehicles are equipped with a EVAP system that works to reduce evaporative emission pollution that can come from the vehicle fuel tank, which is released in the form of vapor. The EVAP system traps this vapor in a charcoal canister and recirculates it for use as fuel for the engine and prevented from polluting the environment. Number 2 is the canister purge solenoid, also referred to as an EVAP canister valve, is responsible for purging the EVAP system by acting as the switch that allows the vapor into the engine. When the purge solenoid fails, it will cause problem for the EVAP system, which will affect the vehicle emission output level. At the bottom, you can see the EVAP system. Next, the good working condition of the component is when we have a good canister purge solenoid is the stability idle. Number 2 is increase the engine performance. Number 3, easy to starting the vehicle. Number 4, no check engine light comes on. And number 5 is fuel economy.